Hey, welcome to The Stan Show. I am Stan Arthur, and this is episode 5 of The Stan Show. And I want to remind you all that we kind of live or die on your subscription and your likes and get notified if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching it on Facebook, just give me a little, reaction. Comments are great too. Comments are always great. So I hope that you will get engaged. Help me out here as we're trying to lift off with the Stan Show here. Big changes are coming within the coming months. By the fall of 2024, we hope to have opened up my new recording / podcasting studio, which will be big doings for us here up in Bryson City, North Carolina. Well, as you may have been able to tell from the title of this episode, we're going to talk about hearing health today. I have been an entertainer my entire adult life, playing drums much of that time without any hearing protection whatsoever. And I'm 66 years old now, and I realized probably about 20 years ago that I had permanent tinnitus, which means a constant ringing in the ears. And it's very annoying, as you can probably imagine. However, you learn to live with it. But I also have some nerve damage along with that, meaning that I can understand painfully little of what my wife says to me unless I'm wearing hearing aids. I need hearing enhancement. And that started quite a while ago. It started off with an audiologist. It's the proper name for a hearing doctor. An audiologist named Dean Knobloch. And Dean Knobloch and I became friends. And I even introduced him to one of my other friends, Lowell Lytle, who became one of his clients. And my first set of hearing aids, I paid about $3,000 for. And they're what you call behind the ear, going behind the ear and then little tubes coming in and then going into your ear. And I'm not even really sure. I don't even remember what happened to those. All I know is I became frustrated with them after a good amount of time, and I just put them away. I heard from Dean later on. He said, come on in and let's try to get you into something new that's better. This is several years later. And I got into a new pair of behind the ear, but this was a little different. It was behind the ear, is they described as BTE, behind the ear. This was RIC, which is behind the ear, but RIC stands for receiver in canal, meaning that the actual bit that goes into your ear is where the speakers are that feed into your ears. It's not coming from the unit behind your ear and feeding through the tube. In these tubes, there's actually a wire that goes back to the unit behind the ear, and it was much better. And it also introduced something called white noise masking, meaning you could adjust the level of white noise that was being fed into your ears to help mask the tinnitus. And it was fairly effective. The one thing I've discovered about behind the ear or RIC hearing aids, they're not really designed for people with long hair like me. I've had long hair for a very long time. And the problem is that, usually my hair is much longer, but I recently cut about 10 inches off of it. But as soon as you go like this or something like that, the hearing aid can pop right off and you won't even know. You won't feel it. It can pop right off and hit the floor. This happened to me while I was at work, and I rolled over one of these $6,000 hearing aids and crushed it. And at that point, again, I became very frustrated and I just put them away. Now, that was a long time ago. That was 5 or 6 years ago. And then last year, in 2023, I became aware that Congress had passed a law that would allow you to buy these fancier hearing aids over the counter. That means through Amazon or through any retailer, really. But of course, I use Amazon a lot. So I started doing the research because I realized all these great models with really cool features were now available over the counter for a much reduced price. So I was very excited about that because I needed very badly to get back into hearing aids. So I went to Amazon. I looked at the different models you can get, and as what I always do is go almost immediately to YouTube and just start looking up best over-the-counter hearing aids 2023, which is it was then. So I did a lot of research, and I realized that there was one really great channel out there. I can't remember the name of it now, but they tested them all and gave them a rating. And I realized that to get a unit that was rated at like 4.6 out of 5, that you'd pay about $800 for a pair, which is a whole lot less than $6,000. I'll discuss the advantages of that in a minute, other than just the huge price difference. But also, if you wanted to get something that was rated 4.7 or one tick higher, you're going to pay about double. Then you're going to go up to about $1,600. So trying to keep it, within the scope of realistic value there, I decided to go with what I found for $800. And this is it right here. The company is called Lucid, and the model is called Engage. And this is the listing on Amazon right here. One of the greatest things about hearing aids now is that they're rechargeable. That's amazing. Another really great thing is they are Bluetooth enabled, meaning you can listen to your YouTube videos, you can take your phone calls, all that right through the hearing aids. This is something I was never able to do before for $6,000. So the Lucid Engage has proved to be pretty awesome. Now, I will admit that after I got my first pair, there was a problem with the right ear, and I could not get the kind of volume out of the right ear that I needed. So and it's also important to mention that these things now have apps for either your iPhone or your Android phone, where you can make all the adjustments in the app. And I just wasn't able to get enough clarity out of my right ear. So I returned them and got a new one, thinking that it was a defect in the workmanship or something. However, when I got the new ones in, I was having the same experience. So I looked a little deeper into it, and I had cleaned my ears with swabs, and all that, but I still wasn't getting the proper volume out of my right ear. So I took someone else's advice and said, you really need to get an ear cleaning system because there's stuff in there you don't even know about. So I went again onto Amazon and I looked at this right here, Wax RX. Now I had seen commercials for this on television and I figured I'd give it a shot. It's not expensive, $34. Okay, fine. Well, guess what? Wax RX made all the difference. Once I had used it and I tried the hearing aids again, I realized it was a whole new world. And I'm talking about in both ears. It just got much, much better. So I realized that the problem had been my ears and not the hearing aids. So I'm still very, very, very happy with the Lucid Engage that I bought from Amazon.com for $800. I use them whenever I need to be in a critical hearing situation. They last on a single charge. They last about, I'm going to say, reliably about 12 hours. And that brings up another point too. They come in this nifty case and it's got a magnetic cover there. So it snaps shut and it's not going to come loose unless you pull it open. And these hearing aids, they just slip inside. There's a little hole there and it just slips inside. But if you don't tap it down and you don't make sure they're in there securely before you close the lid, they won't charge properly. I was having problems with the charges not lasting long enough. I'd have it on for a couple hours and it would say low battery. It'd say that right in your ear, low battery. I'd say, that doesn't make any sense. I even took one out one time and realized it was completely dead. So again, I thought there was a problem with the hearing aids. No, there was a problem with the charging and making sure that they were completely secure. Now, just inside the charger. Now, just like my old hearing aids, this has a little door that opens up and there's a battery inside there. Now that used to be just a battery that was one and done. Once it was dead, you had to replace it with new batteries, but these are rechargeable batteries. And I am super impressed for the price, for the features, for the convenience, and for the hassle-free living of being able to understand the words your spouse is saying. It's money well spent. And I hope that you all will consider it if you're experiencing tinnitus, hearing loss. You lose all the high end, and once you try really good high definition hearing aids for the first time, and you listen back to your music or play a movie on TV, you'll realize you've been missing out on a whole lot. That's really all I have for you today is the encouragement to pick up something like the Lucid Engage for $800 on Amazon. I'm sure you can buy them other places. Amazon is just convenient for me. They go on very, very simply. You just hook them behind your ear and stick the receiver in your ear, and you'll notice there's another little piece of plastic on there that hooks around here, and this is just simply what keeps the receiver in your ear as it kind of goes around the architecture of your ear there, and it keeps it in place. And boy, I'm hearing better already. This is great. So think about that. And if you have any questions or comments, please do put them in the comments for me. I believe that the Lucid Engage is the best hearing aid for the price. You could spend double that on a different brand that gives 1/10 of a point better. It goes from 4.6 to a 4.7 approval rating. And I just think for double the money, I'll settle for the Lucid Engage. I've had great success with listening to my YouTube videos from my Android phone, getting phone calls. One of the great features in the application, in the Android application, is that there's an equalizer in there, so you can turn up the low end for good thumping music. You can bring down some of the mid-range. You can increase the highs a little bit. It's really great. There's kind of a secondary equalizer that's more of an everyday shape of the sound, and you can adjust that too. That's like the permanent thing. And then for real enhancement, you can use the little 4-band equalizer to really make your music sound good, and your videos and whatever it is, your phone calls. Of course, phone calls are kind of tinny anyway, but that's it. Again, that's pretty much all I have for you today. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. We're always happy when you do that. I need to know that people are watching and getting engaged. So do that for me if you would. So did you like it?
I like it.
You liked it. Good. I'm glad to hear it. Well, we'll get on out of here and dream up something for episode 6 and start getting excited about the new podcasting studio, because it's going to be a big change. We're going to have daily guests, very compelling conversations about all kinds of stuff, from music to politics to everyday helpful stuff. So I hope that you do watch, and I hope you get involved with The Stan Show. Thanks for watching.